All right, now we're going to take you into the hot air mode. Very similar to convection oven, dry heat, hot air mode. That's what we're going to work with now. Sarah's going to take you through some baking tips, techniques, and show you the temperatures, times, and the various different containers that you can work with to get the best results. We're also going to be doing some dry grilling in the combi at high temperature. I'm going to go prep the steaks that we're going to cook in that, and I'll be back to show them to you, okay?
Great.
Thanks.
Okay, first thing we're going to start off with is I have some biscuits here. One little tip is that if you put them nice and closer, a little bit closer together than you would think, they'll grow upward rather than outward. Another tip is, as I just have some standard chocolate chip cookies right here. One pan is with parchment paper and the other is on a Silpat or a silicone baking sheet. One difference that you'll see between the two is that you'll see a little bit more browning on the bottom of a cookie with parchment paper and a little less because the Silpat kind of creates a little bit of a barrier in the pan. And now we're just going to load them right in. So first thing we're going to do is change it right into hot air mode. We're going to change our temperature to 325 degrees. And then we're going to set our time for 11 minutes. And hit start. And now because both biscuits and cookies will both cook at 325 degrees, their times might be different, but we're able to bake them in the same oven cavity because there's no transfer of flavor. And then we'll just pull the cookies out and then the biscuits will continue to cook. So while that's baking, I'd like to show you some bread that I baked off earlier and give you a couple little helpful tips on these. So for these loaves of bread right here, I baked it on a perforated sheet pan with no paper. And I did that because I wanted this beautiful, crispy, artisan style bread. And the way that I got this was I actually used steam on demand. So in the hot air mode, you can push this little steam button for as long as you would like the steam to be injected. For example, on this one, I actually loaded the oven with the bread. I held the steam on demand button for about 45 seconds at the beginning of the bake cycle. I let the moisture permeate the product, and then I actually opened the vent. And by opening the vent, I evacuated the excess moisture in the oven, which gives you that beautiful, crispy crust. So for this pan of bread, I actually baked it on a solid sheet pan with parchment paper because I really wanted a softer exterior. And the way that I achieved that is I actually loaded the bread in, followed the same process as the previous, but then I actually injected a little bit more steam on demand at the end of the bake cycle, and I let it sit on the bread so it actually softened the crust up for us. So now our product's done, so I'm just going to unload it. So in the BCP, we have an auto-reversing fan that reverses direction every 2 minutes. That actually helps even out your bake. We also have 9 fan speeds to choose from. For this instance, in what we were baking, we baked 3 pans of fairly sturdy products, so we didn't really have to worry so much. We could bake it at high. But a tip is, if you're baking 6, 8, maybe 10 pans of one of these products, you might want to dial down that fan a little bit, so that way your outer edges don't get too dark before the centers cook all the way through. So we just wanted to give you a little visual about fan speeds. So as you can see, we have some meringue cookies in here that we're baking at 200 degrees with 20% fan speed. And if you can see, it's very gentle in there. The parchment paper is not even moving. So now we're just going to change the fan speed to 100% so you can see how it really affects your product. You actually just hit this button here, push and hold to go back up to 100%, and then confirm with OK. So now we're going to do some oven frying and grilling in hot air mode in your combi. But before we begin, we want to just start off with showing you some accessories to help you do that.
Yeah, you know, one of the important things about that are available too is we have these fry baskets and fry screens. They're made of stainless steel. They really allow the heat to go through, and they really work well with frying foods. Now, you can also use very inexpensive aluminum perforated pans. Now, the one thing that you want to be careful about the aluminum perforated pans is that you need to scrub them make sure they're clean, and then spray them with a little bit of Pam spray or oil, and that way you minimize the amount of aluminum that will stick to the food. So be very careful with them. But outside of that, they work very, very well. Okay. So let's load up. So we're going to do some French fries. We're going to do some tater bites here. I've got about a 4-pound bag. Now, one of the things that's important for you to do, spread them out evenly on the pan, and before you fry or grill, you always want to make sure that your ventilation system is on. Turn it on before you open the door so that you don't fill your kitchen up with smoke, because you will get smoke. Now, we've preheated the oven to 575, and we're going to cook these at 400 once we load them, probably about 8 minutes. And I'll use a little bit of steam injection just to defrost these frozen tater tots. And the other cool thing is, because we're cooking manually, we can adjust the fan speed, and we can open the vent maybe halfway through to intensify the browning and crisp up the French fries and tater tots. Okay, so let's put them in the oven. The steam injection button is right down here in the corner, and I want to let the French fries and the tater tots cook for a few moments before I add some more humidity to the cavity. I'm gonna hit the button right now, and you can actually hear this. When you press it, the longer you press it, the more moisture you add. You hear it going in? Can you hear that? Okay, we're about 4 minutes into this. I'm going to start opening the vent now to pull out any of the humidity, which will brown up some stuff. So you see this button right here? I'll hit it, and it'll show me that the fan speed is at 100%. That's good. And then right below it is an exhaust which says closed. So I'm going to open that up and then push and confirm right over here where it says OK. So now the humidity will be sucked out of the cavity and will intensify the browning. And it's so cool because you have the lights inside and a window that you can see through, so you can see exactly what's going on with your fried items. And at the same time, I'm preheating my grids for grilling. Okay, it says finish, so I'll hit enter or just open the door. Sarah, you want to grab the French fries? Want to do a second batch, you want to move quickly so to keep the heat in there. Oh look, see, they come right off. That's nice. Very, very nice. Oh, 2 little stranglers there. Hit them with a little salt and pepper, and we've got really nice fried products, okay? Now you can actually get ready and put another load in and just be doing this all day long. And you can do full loads all day long. Okay, now we're going to do a variety of different grilling. We're going to grill some salmon, some vegetables, some fillets, and chicken. I'm going to start off with the vegetables and load them right onto the grill plate. Now, just like sauteing, you have to have a hot pan and hot oil. Grilling on a grill, you got to make sure it's on and nice and hot. We can't get away from those basic fundamental rules. Okay, still in the hot air mode. Now I'm going to change the temperature up to 480. And I'm going to set the time for just 10 minutes, and we're going to select start. You can see, let's turn them over, see how they're looking. Now, when seasoning these, a lot of chefs like to try and season it before they go in, but one thing that does happen is, outside of salt and pepper, if you try and put some thyme or rosemary or marjoram or any type of seasoning that you might want to put on your vegetables, they can actually burn at the 480 degrees. So I recommend seasoning them after they come out. Now remember too, another important tip is that I've tried grilling vegetables and grilling the tenderloin of beef at the same time. These vegetables give off so much humidity, they ended up making my beef gray instead of getting the searing that I was looking for. We can cut this up. We can add even just a salad dressing to it and you've got a beautiful grilled vegetables for whatever you want to do with it, okay? So, little salt, little pepper, a little olive oil, and you're ready to go. Now we're going to do the salmon next. All right, I've got my preheated grill plate here, and I'm going to set 4 of these salmon right on here. Now the important thing when grilling too is not to overload your grid. Don't get greedy and try and do a lot. Now I've got the grill plate here, and then just a solid aluminum pan that has a silicone treating. This is like searing in a saute pan. So I've got them both going here, and now I'm going to load them. You want to minimize your seasoning to salt and pepper only, because you can add herbs and spices later after they come out of the combi. All right, so we're going to turn our ventilation system on, open the door, let the smoke out a little bit, and then load these guys. Okay, here we go. I preheated to 575. Now the salmon I'm going to do at 480 for 6 minutes and then select start. I pulled these after just 4 minutes because they were cooking really fast. I only have 8 pieces in there. When you're doing a full load, it would probably take a full 6 minutes. But again, don't overload your combi. Okay, we'll take the one that was on the grill plate first and put that on there. And then this is the one that was on the grill. So you can see, cooking on a flat piece of metal, if you will, you'll get a searing, just like you were going to pan sear in an a la carte situation. But now you can do it, of course, in volume. And then the grill gave the beautiful grill marks that you're looking for. So now you have hot grilled salmon. You just add the starch, your vegetable, add your sauce, and you're ready to go. Now we're going to do some filet mignon steaks. Very lean tenderloins here. I'm going to put them right on the grid. Okay, we're going to set it up at 480, but I'm also going to use the meat probe for this steak and select active, but I'm going to cook the steak to 120. Okay, so let me set the meat probe to 120 here. Make sure you confirm it. So up at 480, I hit start, and now as soon as the meat hits 120, it'll shut the unit off. We got a beautiful medium rare. We got to let them rest. And you've got beautiful 4 fillets. So whether you're doing a T-bone, sirloin strip, any type of steak, as long as you don't overload the grid, this is the type of quality you can anticipate getting. And you saw, we monitored the internal temperature with the core probe, which I think is really cool. Okay, now we're going to grill some chicken breast. And what I wanted to show you about the chicken breast is that I'm going to use the same grill that we offer, and I'm going to use this cast iron skillet that's very readily available almost at any dealership in the country. For our grilled chicken, I'm going to select hot air again, 480, but I'm just going to give it about 8 minutes, okay? Let's have a look at these chicken. This is grilled on the grill. The nice thing about the chicken too is that you can see the difference between the two. I'm going to put them both on the plate. This is the one that's done on the cast iron, and this is the one that's done on the grill. They're pretty similar, and they both do a really good job. One thing I want to add on the chicken, though, is that towards the end of the cycle, you always want to make thoroughly sure that the chicken is thoroughly cooked, and then you're ready to serve. Sauce, serve, and you're ready to go.